How much gun can you get for 300 bucks? Hey guys, Akimbo Chris from Crusader Armory TV. Back out here on the range again today, and today guys, we're taking a look at a new handgun. We're looking at the Bear Creek Arsenal Grizzly 101. This is a Glock 17 Gen 3 clone manufactured by Bear Creek Arsenal. Bear Creek Arsenal is located in Sanford, North Carolina, which just so happens to be the town that I live in and I grew up in. So I'm super excited to review this thing because I want to see how well a handgun made in my hometown will hold up. So we're going to be running this thing through its paces. Like I said, this is a Gen 3 Glock clone. So if you don't know what a Gen 3 Glock clone is, then you know, the algorithm's probably not doing its job correctly, and I don't know why it recommended you this video, because at this point, you should definitely know what a Gen 3 Glock clone is, because there's so many of them on the market. This gun is probably one of the cheapest options as far as Glock clones on the market. This thing is under 300 beans. So today, guys, I really just kind of want to figure out how much gun can you get for 300 beans. So let's go ahead and get to the feature set of the Bear Creek Arsenal Grizzly 101. So like I said, you kind of got your standard Glock Gen 3 design as far as like all the internals on the gun and the manual of arms on the firearm. So a lot of the stuff is in the same place as your Glock Gen 3, but this does have some key features that kind of stand out from the Glock Gen 3. So first off, you do get a nice set of sights up here. So you do get a 3-dot sight system, and these are metal sights, so that's a big upgrade over a Glock. I mean, Glock, you guys should probably take notes at least on that regard. You also get a red dot cut up here, so you know, regardless if you like these iron sights or not, you can mount a red dot on here, and this is RMR cut. So we do have the Aimwin PE 320 on here, and this is what we're gonna run today to kind of take our first shots with it. Obviously, you got this cool looking slide here. This is a gold plated slide. It looks really cool. I don't know how long that finish is gonna hold up, but that's why we do these reviews. As far as the lower frame here, you definitely have some really nice stippling here, and Bear Creek Arsenal does a really good job, as you can see, of making it look like grizzly hair. I actually really do like this grip. It fits in my hand very nicely, and it is pretty aggressive. It's not quite like sandpaper, so you know, it's not going to necessarily be too uncomfortable for you, but it definitely has a much nicer grip than a standard Glock, in my opinion, for sure. So for 300 bucks, I mean, this thing is already doing pretty good. Another key feature that I really do like about the Grizzly over the Glock is that you actually get a full Picatinny rail here. So we do have the new Olight PLX on this gun, and that thing fits on there just nicely. And I did not have to switch out that little mounting key on the gun to put this on here. If you own a Glock, you know half the products you order, you end up having to switch out parts on them to fit that Glock rail. So I am super glad that they decided to go with a standard Picatinny rail instead. So now for the best feature of this gun, in my opinion, the one thing that blew me away is the trigger. This feels to me a lot like a Gen 5 Glock performance trigger. I've had one in my Glock 19X, and this thing feels so similar to that. A big thing about a lot of these cheap Glock clones on the market, like the PSA Dagger, is they come with a absolute garbage trigger. The trigger just doesn't feel as good. It, you know, kind of feels a little bit mushy or whatnot. But guys, this trigger, we are empty. Hit the wall, clean break, crisp. That's crisp. So you have an extremely nice trigger on this gun, and I'm not the only one who thinks that way. I've seen a lot of other people who review it who are really blown away by the trigger as well. As far as the fit and finish goes, what I will say, even for a cheaper handgun, is it does feel pretty decent. You do have a little bit of spring squeak in there, but that's to be expected from a lot of these Glock clones. But what I will say is, in my personal opinion, it feels better than a PSA Dagger, and it doesn't quite have as much squeak as a PSA dagger does. So this being a Glock 17 Gen 3 clone, it does come with 17 round mags. It comes with 2 of them, and another plus going for this over some other Glock clones is instead of P mags, you actually get these KCI mags that have metal inserts in them. I've never used these mags, so I don't know how well they will perform, but with them having metal inserts in them, I have pretty high hopes for them, because one of the biggest problems with some of the P mags that I've ran into, especially with the Glock clones, is they swell. They don't have those metal inserts in them. You load them up, and especially on some of the daggers, once you load them up and you put them in the gun, they no longer want to drop free. So with that being said, I really appreciate that they included magazines with metal inserts in them. So today we'll find out how well those perform as well. I'm kind of excited about this thing because really the only thing competing in this price point is like a Taurus. So as long as this thing outperforms a Taurus today, I mean, it's gonna be very hard for me to say it's not worth it. But overall, guys, we really gotta see for 300 bucks, will this gun hold up? So we're gonna run a couple hundred rounds through today, run her through some drills, test the accuracy on it, and really get a feel for the gun and give you guys our honest thoughts. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get to the shooting. All right, guys, first test is always gotta be accuracy. If the gun's not accurate, it's probably not a good option. So let's see how accurately I can shoot the Grizzly. We're gonna start off here at just like 5 yards, and then we'll back her up all the way back to 35 to see if we can't take some hits. Now, just to be transparent, most Glocks I shoot a little bit left with, so let's see if that translates to the Grizzly as well. Yep, I pulled too low left. Notoriously. Everybody asks me, like, you know, why'd you switch to Smith & Wesson?
So he doesn't pull low left.
Yeah, so I don't pull low left. 1, 2, 3. So those were center, and I definitely pulled these. But it's been like 2 weeks, guys. The snow has put us behind severely. I haven't shot in like 2 weeks, so it's gonna take some time for me to build up my flinch resistance and stuff again. So we'll probably get better throughout the day.
Already setting himself up with some excuses.
12 yards. See what we can do. Wow, I actually shot better on that one. I told you, as the day goes on, we get better. All right, let's take a look. I was shooting a little bit low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm telling you, it's all fundamentals. I just had to get used to it again. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. But gotta go back a little bit further now. So just go ahead and do 25?
Go ahead.
25 on the steel. Let's get it. What I will say just before taking these shots, so far the gun feels pretty good. It feels similar to the recoil of a Glock 17. I don't think it feels too much different. I know some of these cheap Glock clones, you know, the springs aren't as tense, and you know, they recoil a little bit harder or whatnot. This one feels pretty good. It feels pretty slick, and that trigger is pretty nice. Super predictable, and that's what I like about it. You don't get a lot of that you know, Glock trigger mush that you did in the Glock Gen 3. Five for 5, baby.
Not a single miss.
At 25. Not bad. We smoked a Grizzly with a Grizzly. Now we got to step it back to 35 over there and see if we can't get a few hits.
I was just about to say, let's see how it holds up at 35.
Yeah, and this is their Glock 17 size, guys. So this is their full size. They also make a Glock 19. I think it's around the same price as well. So if you want something a little bit more compact, you could definitely go for that. But overall, I mean, I like it so far. I mean, for 300 bucks, it definitely shoots hell of a lot better than a Taurus. I mean, the one thing I can't stand about the Taurus is just the crazy slide mass. I mean, that slide is like a brick, and you know, when it recoils, it just it's really snappy. Even their bigger guns just don't feel as good. So this thing feels really smooth. I like the way it feels, and the trigger is a hell of a lot better than what you're gonna get on a Taurus. All right, we got 3 loaded up. We got 3 shots to smoke that Grizzly here at about 35. Oh, I pulled that last one.
2 out of 3 though.
Yeah, I definitely pulled that last one. Shooter error. So it seems accurate. Seems pretty easy to shoot. I'm not the best shooter in the world. I'm a pretty average guy, and any gun that I can shoot at 35 yards on a target that small, I would say is a pretty accurate gun. Now with handguns, there's a few different things that go into accuracy. Now you can put it in a bench rest all day long and get any gun to kind of be accurate, but you know, it's the things that enable you to be a better shooter. A nice grip, a nice trigger, right? Because if a gun has a really bad trigger, inherently you're going to be less accurate with it, especially when you step back, if it's, you know, just a, you know, super heavy trigger pull or just a bad design. So little things like that can enable you to be more accurate as a shooter, and that's kind of why I run these tests and test it as far as like how accurate of a gun can it be, you know, just shooting it as an average guy on the range. What should you expect? And so far, I think the Grizzly did perform very well, especially for a $300 handgun, because I can tell you one thing, if you hand me a Taurus G3 or a Taurus G2C or whatever, that's kind of in the same ballpark as this, I'm not gonna be able to shoot it that well. Yeah, and you know, I owned the dagger for a significant amount of time. I built it completely out, you know, change the trigger, put a comp on it, all that. And what I'll tell you is out of the box, that dagger trigger, it definitely made my accuracy suffer. So that's one thing I'll definitely give to Bear Creek. It's cheaper. It comes with 2 mags for under 300 beans. And that trigger pull is just, it's just nice. All right, guys, I know you're probably asking yourself, where did he get that fire hoodie at? This is actually from our clothing brand called the Modern Day Crusader. And this is one of our hoodies. It is embroidered across the chest, on the side, and then you also have the Warrior of God logo on the back. So if you guys are interested in stuff like this, we are going to be dropping our clothing brand soon this year. So go follow our social media pages for the latest updates on that. Also, another thing I want to mention to you guys is we did start up a brand page for our channel. So one of the coolest things about being a gun tuber, a content creator, and being affiliated with these companies such as, you know, Palmetto State Armory, Midway USA, Primary Arms, Battlehawk Armory, is that they actually daily send me their best deals that are released on their website. So a lot of times I'm getting the notifications before any of you guys out there are getting the notifications, and they're showing me what the best deals that they have on their entire website are. With that being said, guys, you guys should go check out my brand page, because what we're doing is we're combing through all of those emails that we're getting, we're finding the best deals, and then we are placing the links on that website. So you guys should go check that out. If you're interested in accessories or tools and you're trying to snipe some good deals, go check out our brand page. Link will be in the pinned comments below, and you can also find everything that we use in all these videos. So going forward, you'll see all of our gun builds with all the attachments and things you guys might be interested in, and all the gear that we use in videos. So go check that out, link in the pinned comments. All right, guys, I'm gonna warm up with her just a little bit before we start running our drills. So I'm gonna do 5 draw to fire drills. I do not have my battle belt on today. I accidentally left it at home. But we're gonna work with what we got. So let's see how she performs.
Stand by. 1.89.
Okay, not bad for the first shot.
1.65. We're speeding
Okay.
it up. Same. 1.46.
I thought the other one was 1.65.
Oh yeah, it was 1.65.
Yeah, you trying to cap me, dude. See, that's the Ruger fanboy right there. He don't want to see the Grizzly win.
I
He
don't.
thinks the Ruger is the best Glock clone, but I hate to tell him the Grizzly's coming for the RXM's neck.
Grizzly made 2 out of 3 on the Bear. The Ruger would have hit 3 for 3.
Well, we can find out.
We can. 1.47.
Okay. Oh, I missed.
If you would have hit, that would have been 1, 2, 3.
Not bad. Kind of what I expect, kind of average for most of the guns I bring out here and warm up with. So, so far she's meeting expectations, and that's really all she can do for $300. I mean, what else do you expect? I mean, it feels pretty good. It's not too snappy. You know, action feels pretty smooth, not too squeaky. And my big thing is really that trigger. You're basically getting a Glock Gen 5 performance trigger. I'm not sure what kind of triggers they use in these. I'm not sure if they're made in-house or if they're actually using a Glock performance trigger, but it feels a lot like a Glock performance trigger. And that's usually where cheap guns really fail, is having a good trigger system in there. And this one, in my opinion, is better than a Gen 3 Glock, for sure. And better than a Ruger RXM. And better than a PSA Dagger, so, ugh. Well, that was on me, guys. So this Grizzly does actually come with a extended mag release there, and I caught myself accidentally resting my finger on that and, you know, locking the slide back by accident. So just keep that in mind. This does come with a extended magazine release, and if you're not used to it, you may accidentally lock that slide back when you're firing. Swinging.
10.3.
I had to wait on that last one.
Hey, but you got all three.
Yeah, I did. See, that's the cool thing about these Gen 3 Glock clones. If you guys want to set up like a really budget, cheap competition gun, I mean, these take all of the Gen 3 Glock parts, and Bear Creek Arsenal sells a lot of those, but you can source them from any manufacturer, you know, barrel, compensators, triggers, all that cool stuff. You can do it for a pretty cheap price. So if you're into competition shooting, something like that, you're looking for something to build just to put some rounds to for cheap, then a lot of times opting in for one of these Gen 3 Glock clones is a viable option. And this one, probably the cheapest one you can get, but it's not the worst one by any means. All right, we're running another 3-position drill, but this time we're starting at the 35.
$15.5.
Now let's try to do some reloads to kind of get a feel for ergonomics and make sure those mags drop free and also slide in. Because the cool thing about this Grizzly is it does kind of have a flared mag well here. So that's another cool feature that you get. So that way when you're going to do reloads, you can get that in there no problem. So let's test it out. Is it functional? Will it assist us? We'll find out. I'm really liking the aim win on this Grizzly. I think it looks pretty good, and I think it fits it pretty nicely. This is an acro style footprint. We did review this on the channel, so if you're interested in this or interested in Olight, we do have videos on both of those on the channel. And obviously, like all the videos, all the links will be in the pinned comment below for these items. All right, so let's do a reload drill. We're doing a pocket reload today because I don't have my battle belt on, so probably gonna cost us some time, but oh well. Get points for realism.
6.6.
All right, not bad. I think that's kind of what I was running with the CZ as well.
Yeah.
But that was pretty smooth. I didn't have any issues getting it in. But I think I can cut down on the time just a little bit. But yeah, that's not bad at all. Mag drop freely, no issues. It's the good thing about having those metal mag inserts. I mean, obviously I don't have these loaded fully for this reload drill, but they seem to work. We haven't had any issues with them so far. I think on and off camera today, we probably put 100 rounds to the gun so far. We didn't put any oil on it or anything like that, and she's still running. I don't see any notable issues with the firearm yet, but let's run that again. I pulled the one left.
A little faster, even with the missed 5.5.
Okay, but if you had a second 6.5, about the same time, I had a second for the missed shot. I pulled it just very slightly left. That's why if you're gonna carry something, guys, you should definitely dry fire. learn that trigger, learn trigger control, especially if you have a red dot. One of the things that I like to do is you can see every like micro movement and bounce when you're aiming it. So when you're dry firing, you can see when you're pulling your dot off the target. So just practice keeping that dot as still as possible while pulling all the way through the trigger. That's a really good training exercise you can use to ensure that whenever you do get out in the range that, you know, your trigger control is on point. Because that's usually with handguns what messes most people up when they're shooting and they can't seem to hit what they're shooting at. All right, guys, something I definitely have to mention, because we did just kind of have a little bit of a hiccup with this gun. I was trying to run a drill, and all of a sudden I noticed that the trigger was super hard to pull. So we went to dry fire it to see if it was just me in my head. And no, the trigger was insanely hard to pull. Like, it literally felt like it turned into like a 15-pound trigger pull all of a sudden. So I did take the slide off and I put some oil in there. Again, this gun was not oiled before we brought it out here to shoot it, and it looks like our trigger is back to normal. So I do just want to be clear on that and be transparent with you guys that we did just run into a problem with the trigger here. So it seems like it's already resolved itself. Maybe it just needed a little bit of oil. It was getting gunked up from all the rounds we put through it, but it seems to be completely fine now. But for a second there, I was like, why is that so hard to pull? And I was pulling my shots off the target. Now she's back to normal. We're gonna run a Mozambique and a bill drill, and then we're going to compare it directly to one of the competitors on the market, the Ruger RXM.
306.
All right, 306. Hit, right below the center, and then there's the headshot. 3 seconds, not bad, especially not for a $300 gun. Again, better than a Taurus.
5.6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not bad. Not bad. So now let's compare this to one of the more premium competitors on the market, the Ruger RXM.
Or as I know it, the Gluger.
Yeah, the Gluger. Freddy Gluger.
Freddy Gluger.
So here we got one of its competitors on the market, the Ruger RXM. Now this is a Glock 19 size gun. This is a Glock 17 size gun, so there is a little bit of a size difference here, obviously, with the grip and the barrel length. However, these guns are very similar, but different in a few ways. So me personally, when it comes to the trigger, the Ruger RXM trigger is not bad at all, to be honest with you. However, I personally prefer the break and the wall on the Grizzly over the RXM. It's just a lot more predictable and it's a lot crisper in my opinion. My one gripe with the Ruger RXM was that the trigger was just kind of unpredictable. It's a little bit mushy and there's a lot of take up, and that makes it a little bit hard to predict whenever you are firing it, as you can see there. So I didn't even know where the wall was. I was planning on stopping and I just went right through it because it just broke. So here you kind of have a lot of creep, and then it just breaks. There is no like fillable wall with the Ruger. This gun, you got that very predictable wall, and then it breaks. So personally, trigger wise, I think the Grizzly definitely has a better trigger. As far as fit and finish, I think the Ruger definitely takes it in that regard, but the Ruger is also like $100 more. The Ruger RXM is obviously made by Ruger. Ruger is a much bigger company than Bear Creek Arsenal, and so it makes sense that their fit and finish is a little bit better. But for a gun that's coming in $100 cheaper, the fit and finish on the Grizzly is not bad at all. As you can see, there's not a lot of slide wobble there. The action is pretty smooth, and overall for a really cheap Glock clone, probably the cheapest one on the market, definitely not bad at all. As far as the grip texture, the Grizzly is definitely a little bit more aggressive, so you're gonna have a little bit better of a grip texture on the Grizzly over the RXM. But again, the RXM is not bad. I just think that Bear Creek Arsenal does a really good job with that like bear fur, as they like to call it. But overall, guys, I mean, this is a tough competition. $100 cheaper. The fit and finish might not be as good as the Ruger RXM, but you're also getting a better trigger and a more aggressive grip. So it really just at the end of the day comes down to preference and how much money you want to spend on a Gen 3 Glock clone. But my cameraman's got a little bit of beef with me because obviously this is my cameraman's carry gun, and this is his first handgun that he bought himself. So he's got an attachment to the Ruger, and I gotta put him to shame with the BCA Grizzly. This gun's $100 cheaper. If I can outshoot him with him using his own gun, the Ruger, you know, it might put a dampening on his confidence, and that's what I want to do to him. So we're gonna run a few challenges real quick and see which one outshoots the other. All right, guys. So first, we're just gonna see who can shoot the best 3-shot group at the target here. People were touching on that one.
I might be capital F'd.
1, 2, 3. So you got that distance right there.
And 2 of them are touching.
Yeah. But that doesn't matter, I mean, because I mean the furthest one is still a good ways away, so you just gotta get your 3 closer than that. Yep. And again, my finger was on that slide lock. Honestly, I've never used a Glock with extended slide release, and I think after using this, I would definitely prefer the normal slide release. Like, I get this would help with reloads, but my thumb, I just keep accidentally going up there and you know,
touching it.
Take your 3-shot group. Let's see how you do.
Hope I do good.
Take your time. If only you wouldn't have pulled that first one, man. If only you wouldn't have pulled that first one. If only you wouldn't have pulled that first one.
If I wouldn't have pulled that first one, yeah.
Yeah, because you got the other 2 dead center. I don't know, man. What do you got to say about the first challenge, taking the L?
I mean, I still pulled it. I mean, I haven't shot the gun in a while. I'm gonna use your excuse that you did at the beginning.
Okay.
I haven't been out here in a few weeks.
Challenge 1 out of 3. Cameraman takes the L.
Still did good. I'm still happy with my performance.
The BCA, 300, bro. 300 versus 400. All right, now we're gonna compete with a 3-position drill. See if cameraman can redeem himself with the Gluger.
With the Gluger.
I keep holding my finger on that slide lock. What was the time?
10:01.
Not bad. All
good.
hits, all alphas. See what you can do with the Gluger.
Gotta see what I can do.
Yeah, is the BCA gonna beat out the Gluger today? Probably.
Hey, you may beat me, but you are more experienced shooting guns than I am.
I don't know about that, man.
Yeah.
This range is literally at his house, guys, not mine.
My house, but I don't.
Hey, no, nah, I don't want to hear it. No excuses. I don't have a range at my house, brother.
Hey, you started off the video with an excuse.
Oh. You don't even want to look at the camera, guys. Oh, yeah. Mega Man, turn around, bro.
I did fucking terrible.
Is there something wrong with your cannon?
I was the fucking shooter.
All right, we're gonna do 3 shots at 35. I just missed 3 times.
I just gotta hit once.
I just missed 3 times. What the heck, man? Oh, he got one. He got one.
I got one. I won a challenge. Good.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. We'll call it there for the challenge then. I think the BCA took the dub though.
I think I could come back. I could beat you.
Okay. Well. All right, guys. Well, seems like cameraman's feeling pretty confident. So if you guys want to see a video of us challenging head to head,
this
with the Gluger versus the BCA, like this video, comment below. We'll do it. Alright guys, so just to close this one out, overall thoughts, opinions on the BCA Grizzly 101. I think the thing I like the most about this handgun is definitely the trigger. Most guns in this price point do not have good triggers on them. And I would say this is more than an acceptable trigger at this price point. It just has that super crisp break, and I think that is my #1 favorite thing about this gun with this price point. I do like the upgrades it has over your standard, you know, Gen 3 Glock. Obviously, we have Gen 6 Glocks out now on the market, but those are like 700 smackaronis. This one is literally less than half of that. So with that being said, you still get an optics cut, you get metal 3-dot sights, you get a really nice aggressive stippling on the grip, you get a full-size light rail, no proprietary Glock keys required or anything like that, and overall you get a gun that seems like it runs for the most part. The only real issues I had out here with it was a lot of times I would go up and I'd accidentally put my finger here on this extended slide release. I think that if I was building this gun myself, I would opt out for the extended slide release, because just the way that I shoot, a lot of times my thumb ends up overlapping that slide lock and it causes it to lock to the rear whenever I'm shooting it. I had that happen to me multiple times out here. However, we can chalk that up to user error, and I don't want to blame the gun for that because it is me placing my finger a little bit too high on the firearm. The only other issue we had out here, and I don't know what's really to chalk this up to, but was the trigger. Like I said, when we were shooting it about halfway through our range day out here, we didn't oil this or anything like that. So I think the trigger got a little bit gunked up and it became super hard to pull. Definitely noticeable, and could definitely tell there was something wrong. All I did was take the slide off, we dropped a little bit of oil in there, and now she is breaking clean again, just as clean as she was before. So with that being said, we'll see how she continues to perform as we put more rounds through her, and we will keep you guys posted on that. Other than that, I mean, I really do like the gun for 300 smackaronis. I mean, what more can you expect, right? Like, the only other thing in this price point that it's really competing with is like a Taurus. The Ruger RXM is definitely a really good competitor in the Glock clone space. However, the Ruger RXM is also $100 more than this firearm. If you're balling on a budget or you want to initiate a cheap Gen 3 Glock build, this may be a good platform to start out with. One of the greatest things about these Gen 3 Glock clones is that you can swap parts from pretty much any manufacturer that makes Gen 3 Glock parts, and there are for sure a lot of them out there. So if anything ever breaks or you want to replace any of the parts in the gun, such as the barrel or the trigger, or there's something you don't like about it, you can always switch those out. This platform is slowly becoming the AR-15 of the handgun space, so they are super, super versatile. I think we put a total of about 200 or so rounds through her today on and off camera, and the only hiccups that I really had were due to me locking down on that slide lock. So with that being said, guys, she seems like she's somewhat reliable, and I'm going to continue to run rounds through her, and I will keep you guys updated. That's it for this week's video. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you slap a like and comment below on what you think of the Bear Creek Arsenal Grizzly. Let us know if you've had one, let us know if you shot one, let us know what you think, and make sure you subscribe, because we need all the help we can get, because YouTube hates gun content and we need to stay in the algorithm. So without further ado, I will see you guys next time, and I'm out. Peace.